Alright, so today we're going to do a flight plan from Aurora State, Oregon, up near Portland, from there to Medford, Oregon, and then with an alternate over to Klamath Falls. So, in the top left, you see that FPL. We're going to select FPL for flight plan. We're going to put the cursor inside there. Kilo Uniform Alpha Oscar, which is Aurora. Then we're going to go Kilo Mike Foxtrot Romeo, which is Medford. ForeFlight's going to draw a route directly from A to B. We want to determine a departure leaving there. So on the top right, we have the procedure button. We're going to select procedure. And then we're going to select departure KUAO. There's 3 departures. Now we know that Gannett 2 is to the south. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So we're going to select Gannett 2. We're going to put add to route. So as you can see, instead of going directly to Medford, now we show the dashed pink line there to get us to Gannett. Now just like leaving Aurora, we selected departure. Now we're going to select a procedure. Select procedure. Approach to KMFMR. And we're going to select the ILS 14. And that'll take us to SAMI. We're going to add it to the route. So when we come down, you'll see that the approach plate is superimposed over the en route low altitude chart. So just as a point here, we hit the gearbox on the top left of the approach plate. That's the settings. We can change on the bottom of it. The slide bar changes the opaqueness of that approach. So I'm going to make it very clear so we can see more of the approach plate, or the ELA. Alright, now we don't want to go direct. It's a lot more intensive to try to find the appropriate altitude. So rather than go direct, we're going to drag the route over to the Eugene VOR. Come down here, Navigate, Eugene VOR. Now that takes us directly on that Victor airway, so now we can use the altitudes associated with that airway. Okay, there's 5,000. And we don't have to, well, there's 5,000 for that, but if you notice the Aroka right here is 8,500 for there, and it's 6,400 for there, but 5,000 is the route for that Victor airway. Alright, now down to Eugene, we're going to look at the approach into, and we have SAMI, which is right on Victor 448. So, same thing, we're going to snap a line over to Roseburg VOR. And now we have a Victor airway, a departure, Victor airway, and approach. So all of our altitudes are legal going into there. Now, we're going to use Klamath Falls, KLMT, as our alternate. So back up to the flight plan, KLMT, return. That's going to draw a line over to the departure. Now, if I went into procedure and we have approach into KLMT, I could do that, but it will delete the procedure going into Medford. So I'm not going to do that. I just know that we're going to go to Brute. In the center of the screen, you see a Brute there. So I'm going to take the route, and I'm going to snap a line up here to Brute, go into waypoints, select Brute. Now, I also know that the the RNAV 14 takes us up to mix-up on the top of the screen there. So I'm going to snap a line up to mix-up, select mix-up. So now I have a picture of what the route's going to look like if I go missed. You know, call in ATC and ask them direct to Brute departure, over to mix-up. Now, or over to Brute. And then once we do go miss, we can go procedure, KLMT, RNAV 14, and there's mix-up at the top of the screen. We're going to select mix-up. So now the entire approach going into RNAV 14 at Klamath Falls is overlaid on the screen. Now if I come up over here to Medford, as you can see, the ILS approach is no longer there. And then the one concern we have is the altitude from brute to mix-up. So the Aroka says 11,800. We could pull out a VFR sectional and plot a line and see what the... So let's pull up the VFR sectional here real quick. So we have 9,495 is 4 Mile Lake, and that's the highest elevation on that route, and it's pretty much right over that. So 2,000 feet above that would be 11,500. Let's go back to the IFR low and see what the Aroka is, 11,800 in the entire sector. So as you know, we can fly over 10,000 feet for 30 minutes, and then anything over 12,500, we got to have oxygen at all times. So let's look at the distance from brute, the distance from brute to mix up. Snap a line there, we're 33 nautical miles. So about 15 minutes for that. And then the altitudes from mix up, let's go look down below on the approach plate. So we can go to the, there we go, change the opaqueness. Let's see. So we have 8,300, so immediately we're down under 10,000 again. 8,300 in the center there, and then 700, or 7,000, excuse me, and down to the approach. And then after this, I'm going to go down to the FMS, and I'll program basically this same flight plan into the FMS. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, so we just planned a IFR flight in ForeFlight from Aurora to Medford, and then an alternate from Medford to Klamath Falls. So we're going to put that into the FMS. We're CMA9000 FMS in a EC225 Super Puma. So we're going to go route Aurora, which is Kilo Uniform Alpha Oscar. Put that in the origination. We're going to go to Medford, which is Kilo Mike Foxtrot Romeo. That'll be our destination. For now, we'll push execute. We're going to go arrival departure now, and we're going to pick a departure leaving Aurora. So departure, we know we want to go Gannett, same as we did on the iPad. We're going to take off runway 17, execute. Back to arrival departure, either we can select the left line select key or we can select this key, that's the same thing. Medford, arrival, ILS 14 via SAMI, execute. Now we can go into legs, and we have a discontinuity, so we're just going to type over that discontinuity. The first one we're going to do is Eugene VOR, execute, and then Roseburg VOR, Romeo Bravo Golf, boom, execute. We have a discontinuity, so we're going to go to the next page. We're going to select SAMI, which is the initial approach fix for the ILS. Go back to the previous page, we're going to put that over the discontinuity, execute. So at Eugene, we can add an altitude just for our personal reference to remember, and then at Roseburg, we can add the same altitude as SAMI, so 7,000. Aircraft will not fly to these altitudes, you have to select it because there's no vertical guidance in this aircraft. All right. Now, so now we can go back to route 2. So the second route is going to be our alternate. So we're going to arrive into Medford, KMFR. That'll be a origination. And then KLMT, correct, is for Klamath Falls. That's our destination. Now it doesn't say execute because the first route is already executed, so we're just going to confirm that that's what we want the route to be. We come into departures here, and we have the Route 1 departures and we have the Route 2 departures. So we're going to go Route 1, Brute, and runway 14, confirm. All right, so back to arrival departure. Arrivals into Klamath Falls. Well, now we've already said we want to do the RNAV runway 14, and mix-up. Confirm. So now we go into legs, brute, and then mix-up. So, like I showed you on the VFR section on the iPad, there's that obstruction that's at 9,449 feet, something to that effect, between brute and mix-up. So then we would have to go 11,000 feet, 11,500 actually, to have 2,000 foot. But for this instance, we're going to go mix-up, we're going to put it in that discontinuity, and we're going to confirm it. So we'll go next. So right now we're just confirming all of the waypoints. Now, when we do the approach, let's come back to Route 1 legs. So we're flying the approach, we're at our missed approach point, and we've asked ATC to go to the alternate. So to get the alternate in, we go Route 2, activate. And that deactivates Route 1 and activates Route 2. So if they tell us to go direct brute, it's just a matter of going brute, boom, boom, activate. Now the aircraft is direct brute at this time. To check the RMP, the required navigational performance, we come down to program. We have an RMP of 2.0, and right now we're not showing an AMP because we don't have any satellites because we're inside the hangar. To check the satellites progress, we would go initial reference, nav status, GPS, and that tells us how many satellites that we're tracking, if we did have any satellites that we were tracking. I'm going to take it back to progress. There we go, previous. So let's take it back to the first route, Route 1, activate, execute. All right, so that's how to plan a primary and an alternate route, and in the FMS it's Route 1 and Route 2. All right, thank you.